Our Kwaba SI Ediban Nimdia News Review, Nimdia News, always the best news in town. In Semi Brunana, say Koso Ebio, Ewo Ghana, Amai Muhammad Kacho say for politics and governance, dear. Odi Nimdia News are nowadays. Asem. We bring you all news and Ebio Sono Yedi AC, Amai want also in Ansho Brown, and Musa to Miakabi. Yentian Simbia, AC, whom baby as Susan at the bottom, and so Ebefa. Ghana had politics is about NPP, NDC, and all other political parties are a trenchia waha. And now what in some say, which now what in some say, na in some be esi. Me pese yebetie a 9.4 second comedy ko anum. Yebetie in some no about you near the adventure and so aba. Press all the comment. Everybody said the baby to me, Unia King and so dear man. Before that, no so no subscribe to your channel, no. Name the news, and some all other relevant news. For politics, so our Ghana. Yentin see me emergency, na press all the adventure and so ebetuja. Yentimra, yaba the Rubia near Wasaka.
The critical analysis by wasanko fafo fraba eno a mokaya me analysis no ni share for many on Friday on the critical analysis channel me catch you say you 15% be amusa dan kwa MPP research on who leads the MPP no what is that 15% ya ko kan Kennedy 19 ho a ba me ho be kire no now we're breaking it down 15% undecided no regional amanfo nsioma madwin pise ahefa no mo to akono. What I catch was undisclosed, undecided, near different. Undisclosed, I mean, can't you? Undecided, you metal, but mean decided, baby, I met to a call. Now, Musa Danka, oh yeah, dear, my catch was said, you get it wrong sometimes. And normal, science is never absolute. But, me see any video where no matter, Adiana see ye. A mama saying I am Cheshire, Kakra, I'm a Team Bawumia. My saying I am Cheshire, Kakra, so I'm a Team Kennedy. Balance nyenti ameka sa no mechew again fellas kwacho futunka se men kan fa no ho NDC MP for asebu kwa man kese Minister of State Government Communication ka we fa ho ben watutu bia ma ne ba me anya sem ketwa ewo good morning Ghana on Friday no but the new bro the critical analysis channel te mechew research na e da so yi Musa dan kwase about 15% for bi o undecided ti ba me 44 no ene Kennedy 19 no hanom ono de odwen say apɛ na serious as a poster no because one decided that most na na e Kennedy or especially in the MPP contest no okay now kind no ana brandable or TikTok your friend of Kennedy doctrine okobusa question say undecided no betimi explain ni wo ne Musa dankwa e be chire mu on TikTok or the 2 or 10 minutes gram na mafa me di video na mamu no chire mu baby a undecided ni free ba omo age band no tie ni obehu a certain trick bi wo tie.
Hi, good morning and welcome to Global Info Analytics. Today is Sunday, 26th of October, 2025. I've had a question from someone on TikTok with a handle called Ken Doctrine, asking me a few questions about the undecided and their demography and where they are located. So this morning, I will be taking through those who are undecided in terms of the regions they are in mostly, whether their age profile, their gender, their educational level, and whatever demography that we have. In fact, religion, if you want to go that, even ethnic group, if you want to break down that number further. So this morning, I'm just going to focus on those who are undecided. And let me put it this way. If the undecided people are 100%, if there are 100 people who are undecided, where can you find these 100 people? According to the poll, around 1.6% are in Afro region, but 12% of those who are undecided are in Ashanti region. 12%. 2% are in the Bono region. 5% are in the Bono East region. 15% are in the Central region. So Central region is very, very high among those who are undecided. Then you have Greater Accra. 26% of all people who are undecided are in Greater Accra. Then you have Northeast, 2%. Northern region, around 5%. Otik, around 2%. Savannah, 2%. Upper East, around 7%. Upper West, 3%. Volta, 8%. and then Western 3%, Western North 1%. So in terms of the concentration of people who are undecided, who are above 5% threshold, Ashanti region is 1, Bono East, Central region, Eastern region, Greater Accra region, Upper East, Volta region. These are the regions you can find high concentration of voters who are at the moment undecided. So this will be helpful for any of the campaign to see how to deploy resources and where to go. This is free data we are giving to all the campaign. But thank you, Ken Doctrine, for asking this question. And I think we are giving it out there for public to see where the numbers are. Now, when you come to those who are undecided, 79% of men, or of those who are undecided, 79% are men, 21 are female. But that is really reflective of the current structure anyway, because MPP delegates, about 75% are female and 20% or 25% are male. So here it doesn't tell you much. But in terms of age profile, those who are undecided, 35 to 44 years account for 37% of those who are undecided. With the middle-aged people, 35 to 44, 37%. And then 45 to 54, they are 29%. 25 to 34, 22%. So a lot of people who are undecided are in the middle-aged Gen Z category to the middle-aged group of delegate. Very few people who are between 18 and 24 are undecided, and those who are maybe 65 to 65 plus, they are just 3%. So the bulk of the undecided are in the middle age group, 25 to 34, or 25 to what I would call a 54 years age group. So in terms of your question, this is the age profile of those people. Now, if you come to educational level of these people, 40% of people who are undecided have junior high qualification. 34% of them have a senior high, 17% have tertiary, and 8% have no qualification. So broadly reflecting the structure of the MPP. Now, among all who are undecided based on a religious ground, 78% of those who are undecided are Christians, 19% are Muslims, 2% are traditional religion, nearly 0.5% are other religions, and 1% belong to those who are without religion. Again, when you come to those who are undecided by their ethnic groups, 49% of Akans, or 49% of those who are undecided are Akans. 49%. 5% are Guans, 10% are Gandangbe's, 11% are Evers, 18% are Mol, or 19% are Moli Dagbani. So from the major ethnic groups, the ones with the highest proportion of people who are yet to decide are the Akans, 49%. So basically, this is the demography of people who are undecided. As to what the campaign will do going forward is up to them. But we've given you that in terms of geography, where you can find them, most of them, about 12% Ashanti region, about 15% Central region, about 26% in Greater Accra, and then another 5% in Bono East, 6% in Eastern region, and
I'm privileged to be among the shortlisted people to
Volta region 8%. I'm quite surprised that the low level of people who are in the Eastern that are undecided. It means Eastern region is largely fairly settled in the sense that very few of them are undecided. They know what to do. Even among those who said they will not disclose, Eastern region is about 6%. So it's a strong region, a very important region, and they are expressing their views in terms of their voting intention. At the moment, yes, we can see that that from the data. Now,
yes, and you see here, first region a Greater Accra, Ashanti, Central. Why is Kennedy Central region based undecided? On percent they knew was 15%. Ashanti 12, Greater Accra 20 something, 26%. And also, and they be a catch say, analyze the Ghana election. One region, it gives you baby I think the only time a ASI 2020 and SSI, baby a Greater Accra tied to a mabacon. Say any planetary win elections in the general elections in Ghana. Baby a Greater Accra or tied to Nabacon because Greater Accra cosmopolitan man from Manfra. A man from Benton and Akomia, no DM to Accra. Cosmopolitan nebu Ashanti regions are nebu northern, sir. Greater Accra gives you a proper nuance. A man from Manfro Hobby. It is a better cosmopolitan area than any region in Ghana. It is a 26% Greater Accra undecided. A warring for anybody. Because whoever wins Greater Accra has a high propensity to win the election because of that dynamics and because of the national politics I make compare. So it tells you Kennedy has a lot to do in his backyard. As on call central, as on starting on Kobuno, or by Ashanti or Kono, on Koebi or Koebi, best. But I'm answer back Ashanti, or by twice, but still undecided around 12%. A warring. It's another is that no age group is all kind of Gen Z is 25. Gen Z is about 25 to 35. But I'm not about your politics now. And these are delegates. And the delegates who grab in the politics. How can that delegate be convinced to go out and bring people? But what I say? So the MPP find themselves in a very interesting situation. But that said, Anna Mekrame can be so unity, MPP be here unity going into the election. For let's catch up for just one who believe is how. 2016, MPP party be one and to go MPP. When we win the election.
First of all,
if you're not clearly monitoring what's happening within the
first of all, there's no contest in the NDC for flag leadership. So the situation, that question does not even begin to arise. Number two, the NDC has done this over and over and over. In fact, we've had Mrs. Rollins, who was a very powerful woman in the NDC, challenge an incumbent president, and we scaled it. So it is not a problem at all. When the time comes, we will maneuver it successfully. We will come up with a very viable candidate who will continue with the legacy of President Mahama. But regarding the MPP, because they are the ones who are holding a contest now, for me, I think that they've misdiagnosed their problem. The decision to hold this contest so early points to a misdiagnosis of why they lost. Somehow they believe that it was internal divisions that led them to opposition. That is not the case. More, I've told you here that the people of Ghana have shown in the last 8 elections or so that it is their welfare, how they feel about their welfare, that motivates them to go for one party or the other. Look, in 2014, the MPP was in complete disarray. By the time they went for the elections, they had slaughtered a party chairman in the Upper East also, Alaji Chairman Adams. Acid was poured on him, he died. They had staged brawls in their party headquarters. Haji Afati and Co. had charged on opponents of Akufo-Addo within the party and harassed them. We saw the killings in Asawase. I think 2 people also died from clashes within the MPP. Yet they won the elections by close to 1 million votes in 2016. What does that tell you about the people of Ghana? They are unconcerned about happenings within parties. What they care about is what they believe the government of the day has done or not done. So if you take that into consideration, you see that all of this hoopla is much ado about nothing. Look, it is obvious that having been the immediate past candidate of the MPP, Dr. Bawumia goes into that primaries with an edge. Except that perhaps he may have a bit more challenge this time than he did when the whole establishment was behind him. Indeed, there are credible reports that President Akufo-Addo himself has now distanced himself from Dr. Bawumia and is backed by the champion. This is an open secret. Everybody knows it because you see that key operatives within the Akufo-Addo government and the MPP machinery are supporting Brianna Champon. It is also obvious that now Kennedy Apon does not have to deal with the system. So there's a bit more wind in the sail at this particular moment. And he is mounting a credible challenge. But despite that, I think that Dr. Bawumia, having contested once and having been marketed before, stands a chance. Also, there's a certain natural sympathy that he will get within the MPP, having lost the elections. It has happened in all political parties. So I will not be surprised if he won. As to whether or not he will win by a wider margin this time than before remains to be seen. MPs rallying support, for me, it is inconsequential. The average MP would want to play safe. They wouldn't want to rock the boat because there are consequences for their own elections internally. And I must indicate, having participated at the constituency level in terms of electioneering and mobilization. That constituency-based elections, primaries for MPs or parliamentary candidates, are more divisive than presidential primaries. Because what happens is that the people who are within the branches, or if like the polling stations, as the MPP calls them, are far removed from those at the top who are battling it out. So they don't really have personal relationships. So they may listen to an influential person and vote one way or the other, or based on their own views about the people that they know from a distance. They may take certain decisions. But when it comes to internal primaries, what happens is that there are closer relationships. And so the schisms are deeper. The divisions are deeper. And that is even more likely to affect the party's prospects than the primaries upstairs, at the top of the party. I cannot place a finger on any instance where legitimate division at the top of a party affected its outcomes in elections. And 2016 is a typical example. In fact, I don't know of any party that went into the 2016 that has gone into elections that was as divided as the MPP was in 2016. Yet they put up a stellar performance, swept parliament, and won by almost 1 million votes. So it tells you that the MPP has misdiagnosed their problem. They don't know where their problem is. In fact, the one who is likely to win, Bawumia, will also be their weakest link in the 2028 elections. For as long as this economy does better than what they left, Dr. Bawumia will struggle to convince the people of Ghana that he has what it takes to run this country. You see, he himself is a bundle of contradictions. In one breath, he says he was the be-all and end-all of all MPP policies. Sometimes he takes credit for even things that predict him, like interoperability and what have you. Yet, in another breath, he says that he had no role to play in the MPP and that the economic mess was not his doing. Meanwhile, we all know that as far back as 2008, when he was first tapped to be President Kufuor's running mate, when he didn't even have an MPP membership card, which led to strong protests from Kennedy Upon, if you read Arthur Kennedy's book. It is the economy that has been cited for the reason why he was tapped to partner President Kufuor. Maybe in 2008 it was a bit less pronounced. But in 2012, he started holding public lectures to demonstrate his capacity in economic governance. Indeed, in 2016, President Kufuor was clear in his statements that he had gone for Dr. Bawumia because of his economic prowess and that he was going to hand over the management of the economy to him. When they came to power, he sought to take credit for every gain that was made in the economy. Yet, the moment the economy turns out, he tried to distance himself. So, it raised serious credibility problems for him in the eyes of the Ghanaian electorate. For as long as he remains active in politics, he will always be associated with the economic downturn that proved disastrous for the average Ghanaian. He has not been able to overcome that. So, no amount of maneuvering, it doesn't matter how he wins in the MPP. People will always compare his performance to what is happening today. And you see, voters are rational decision makers. The average voter, to the extent that they are of sound mind and of the right age, is rational in his decision making. When he goes to vote, if the conditions under which he lives presently are better than what existed under a previous government that he has voted at, he is most unlikely to go back. So that is Dr. Bawumia's conundrum. If you look at the economic performance today, it is much better than what he left. So exactly what, indeed I've seen him say, for instance, that he will deliver world-class governance. Meanwhile, you left power barely 10 months ago. Where was that world-class governance? People can say that it is the worst period that this country has had to go through under your stewardship of the economy.
But he was not the president.
Sure, he was not. So he was not the president when he claimed that those 33 policies that were implemented were his brainchild. Today, he claims that he was the brain behind gold for oil. Despite gold for oil, our economy collapsed. Our currency collapsed. It moved from 6 cities to 17 cities. When he was leaving power, the economy was around the city was around 17 cities to $1. He was not the president, and yet he said that he introduced gold for oil. He was not the president, but he says that he introduced interoperability. He wasn't the president, but he says he introduced that thing that they used to transport some blood to be, what is it called? What do you call it? The drone service. He was not president, was he? He wasn't president, but he says he introduced,
isn't it? The zip line.
Zip line, yes. He said he was not president, but he says he introduced it.
So those were the things he could do.
So, but what is the effect, the totality of what he did? Hold on. He says that he was the brain behind gold for oil.
Yes.
Not so?
Yes.
He was the brain behind the accumulation of gold by the central bank.
Yes.
So they had been accumulating gold since 2022 or so. And yet, the purpose for the accumulation, which was to bolster the currency, was not realized. The currency performed at its worst level when he was doing that. What is the outcome? of what he did. So that contradiction, and it appears that he still continues to drive that mantra.